Hi, welcome to Mystic Frequency. I'm Lisa, and I am a tarot reader, oracle reader, and I've been away for a little bit, but I just want to let those who have been interested in this reading's topic know that I have been working on this reading. My life has been kind of changing up a little bit. I have kind of taken on a role where I'm currently having to assist and help my brother with his son, so that way he gets the support he needs whenever they're working. There's been a lot of changes in his life. A lot of legal proceedings have been going on in my life. That's why I haven't been able to upload or even put readings out there. But that hasn't been the only thing that I've been working on. Now, before I really get into this reading, now this reading is a message that I'm trying to channel for a loved one that is no longer here. And it's very important to me, but my spiritual journey is just as important to me. Not just being able to assist you and those in the collective, being able to connect with, your spiritual side and be able to use, any kind of form of divination possible, such as, tarot reading and, channeling what is solely best for you. I'm not going to be able to do like my normal daily readings. I'm sure everyone has probably picked up on that. Like I was doing at the beginning of the year, and I was going real strong at it, but I felt a disconnection almost instantly towards the end of February going into March, and I felt like I needed a journey of some sorts. And so one of the things I've been doing, and I really recommend, if you haven't started your own kind of archetype journey, I have been doing a pull on cards. Now, I will be using this tarot deck, not in this reading, but in future readings after I have done my own, healing, my own journey with the archetypes. And I have found the most benefit just using The Wild Unknown by Kim Cran's Archetypes Guidebook and discovering things about myself, discovering things about my past, discovering things about the things that I care about. And so I've been taking a step back, doing a lot of spiritual journaling, noticing the synchronicities that have been going on in my life, because I felt like at one point I was like, why am I doing this? Why am I doing this? What made me motivated and passionate about doing what I do right now with you? And this intro may be a little bit lengthy, but I just want to let you know I have so much love, so much support, so much, this feeling within me where I want to share whatever I find, whatever I come across. And this is one of those things that I've come across that I feel like I'm a part of something. And I'm sure my tarot listeners, my tarot readers, my people that actually, do tarot for themselves and maybe even create the content themselves, they understand that sometimes when you're in front of a camera, you can kind of feel that disconnect, or when you are, you need that feedback that you need. And the instant you get the feedback, you get into that cycle of, is the feedback good for you? Can it assist you in some way? Or maybe there's some boundaries that you're like, I'm overcrossing, or maybe boundaries that I haven't even thought of. So this video, I would really like to kind of like share with y'all, like, I can't always be there, but I'm spiritually sending so much love out there, like when I cannot be here. And I hope that all the content that I've created before this video and those after really do assist and help someone in their journey, no matter where they may be. We come from all walks of the world. We experience so many different things, and what one person may experience may not be the exact same thing. And, our perception will change along the road. And this reading, like I said, I have a lot going on in my life, but I wanted to make sure that I am still here. I am still here to support and, give any kind of wisdom. And I love the feedback. I love whenever I see a positive response, or a situation is resolved because they happen to come across one of my videos. And I thank y'all so much. But I just want to go ahead and really talk about why this reading is so important, and why it is so important to kind of like have some form of connection to someone who is, they may not physically be here, but we can feel their spirit. We can feel them in our souls, our body. We dream about them. We connect with them. We sometimes when we enter a room, we smell a scent that reminds us of them, their perfume, their cologne, or even you find yourself using phrases that they may have used, or when you see a part of a town that brings back childhood memories, or, when you've experienced your first love, or when you've lost a husband or a wife, or whatever the case may be, and you go to some part of the town that reminds you of them. And you're like, how can I connect with them? How can I reach out to them? So this reading is going to be a way for me to channel that for you, if you will. And now I will say, remember, there's like 7 billion people. I could be wrong, but there's a lot of people on this planet. There have been a lot of people who have, moved on from all, and specifically this reading, I want you to kind of like take deep breaths and channel it from someone who you actually really loved to be around, someone you enjoyed their presence. And this is not a reading to help resolve someone that may have caused a lot of conflict in your life. This is a reading to really help you focus on the people who made a positive impact in your life. And you just need a little bit of encouragement. You need a little bit of guidance. This could be a friend. This could be, someone that you felt like you've had a soulmate connection with, and then time passes, and just like with the death card in tarot, people, death is inevitable. It is. So if I could talk to anybody right now, it would be my grandparents. They are the reason why I am the soul that I am, that I take care of the people that I take care of, why I'm a big mama bear, why, back then when you're driving down the road in a Ford pickup truck, and my grandpa had a Ford Ranger, mind you, and there wasn't a stranger. You were a part of a community. If your neighbor needed something, you were there for them. And if I could connect with them, I would connect with them right now more so than ever, because I find myself taking on my grandma's personality now that I've got my little nephew in my life, and he's been visiting me, and oh my goodness, he reminds me of my own son when he was that age. So I'm getting a flashback at the same time, and I'm sure that was what it was like for my grandparents as soon as my mom had kids. And so it was like reliving that nurturing part of your soul. So shout out to my grandparents. Shout out to your grandparents. Shout out to anybody that made you feel connected. And, they shaped me. They made me the person I am today, like I said. But they also taught me the importance of keeping those bridges strong. How often do you find that the rock in your family, and I've got quite a few rocks out here today. These are, those solid structures that you've had in your life, and you've spent holidays, traditions with this family. And then as soon as you lose that rock, you start to see that the soil is been moved out from underneath, and emotions get all over the place, and people, they lose their way. They lose the ability to be able to go back to home, to what they know. And when I became an adult, I stopped visiting and exploring. They cared a lot about their garden and, being comforting to those, no matter what they may be going through. And I really wanted to connect with that more than anything. So time can sneak up on you, especially when you let it go unchecked and your age gets the best of you. You don't pay attention to your hair going gray. You don't pay attention to you never know when one conversation may be the last. But I wish for my kids to be able to have an experience, even after I pass, after, hundreds of years go down the road and these videos, and I really hope that I see, or, you feel that spiritual presence of, your descendants. They want to connect with you and figure out what made you you, why you made the decisions that made you who you are, or how they shaped, how your family tree goes about. But, I just want everyone to know here on this channel, you're welcome. You could be having the best time of your life. You could be going through the worst time of your life, but always know that I want you to just be who you are, as you are, present yourself. And, for those that are a part of this intro and listening along the ride, let me know if you could connect to anyone right now, who would it be? Why would it be? And, what is something they would have done that you're going to make it a part of your mission, your life mission, to kind of honor and remember them, especially if it's advice or, just how you are as a person. Now, I have 5 piles here. Now, just like in my regular 5-pile readings, this last pile is just a pile to kind of assist and help me be able to purchase more tarot cards, different types of readings, just like with this one. Now, my husband, I am so happy. He's been very supportive of me and supporting my journey. And, when I go through my highs and my lows, and I find it really hard to, be behind a desk and, journal and write what I want. And, he even helped me. This is my new tarot. This card that you see on top is one of my new ones. And I love the artwork that it has. And I'll actually show you the box, because the box is what got me to purchase it, because I love rainbows. I loved the imagery. Now, I will say, always check your tarot cards when you are doing a reading, because you never know when you might get a surprise nude card, if you will. Now, these cards are not nude in any way. I was very happy about that, but I just want to kind of share that and update y'all on what I have going on. But there are 5 piles here, and this last pile that I have down here is solely on my Patreon, and I will include the link along with all the time descriptions below. And I hope with this intro you've had a bit of time to kind of look and gander at, that's another thing my grandma used to say, gander, or over yonder, because I'm from the South, guys, if you can't tell by my accent. Sometimes it changes. But, this is one way to help support my channel, and I will include I will lay out the cards for what this pile looks like and give a brief description of what you should feel. And if you feel very attached to this card plus any of these other piles here, then you can it's like an extra door, if you will. But that's there solely to just really help my channel. The other thing that I would kind of like to talk about is I'm not able to do personal readings anymore right now with everything that is kind of going on. I need my life to kind of settle down a bit, so that way I can, be able to be there for my family and be there for you and just do those things. So if you've had a personal reading from me, thank you so much for allowing me to do that for you. I appreciate you. And I'm always here, so I hope you look forward to the readings that I do. And if I'm able to do a personal reading, I'll update and let everybody know. So what is this reading going to be about, and how is it going to break down? So these crystal cards that are down here are going to be kind of like the energy check that's going to guide the reading, or kind of give us a, so we're making a soup or some kind of chili, or we're making a dish together, and it's just kind of helping you pinpoint a little bit about, is this the person I'm thinking about, or is this probably someone else? Because like I said, if you've got a nosy family member in your life that has passed away that used to be in everybody's business, and it makes me think of a friend that would maybe push grandma aside and said, I needed something that I need to say to her. Grandma, you can wait. It's that kind of thing. So think of your spirit guides as the loudest one is probably going to want to have their share time with you. So let them kind of give you their share time, and then lean into maybe another pile if you're looking for a specific person. So the first card is the energy card for the crystals. And then the second card is with my astro dice. This is the person's energy that I'm getting from it, what they may have experienced, what they kind of may have been about. And that will be the biggest takeaway. So when you start to listen about their energy check, not the crystal energy check, I'm talking about the energy check of the person themselves, then you will know that, okay, this is who it is I'm locking in on. The third card is going to be what they want you to know. And I'm going to be using my angel oracle. And this is they need it to come across, and this is what they want you to know, because they may see that you're experiencing this, maybe struggling with it, or they're just they're giving you the thumbs up, if you will, the thumbs up. And then a lesson they wish to share with you. And I'm going to use my Starseed Oracle deck and read from that, because I just really like the way it words. And, you know, it's like if I can read and channel a person, like how they, you know, they're trying to give you something. They're trying to give you that electrical current information across. So I'm going to read from my Starseed Oracle, and then the last card I'm going to reveal is their message of comfort that they want to give you right now. And I know all of these cards are probably going to be some form of comfort for you, but like that last card is going to be their comfort. Then I'm going to use some charms and Scrabble tiles to really dive into this. So I really hope this reading flows really good for y'all, and y'all are able to hear me and understand the message, because I know how sometimes I can go all over the place and talk, and you know, like if you have like ADD and you get stuck on one subject and then you get stuck and then you do a full circle. It's like in the South, when we try to tell a story, there's about 70 side missions. We got to talk before we get to the main point, if you will. So when selecting a pile, be sure to only take what resonates, as there may be multiple energies trying to share the stage or dominate the stage, if you will. Write whatever you need down. I encourage it. And come back to it if it doesn't make sense. If I say something and it repeats in your head, write it down, even if you don't know what it means right now. You know, maybe ask a mom, dad, or whoever was close to that person. If you're like, okay, I wrote this down, she said something, but it just kept repeating and I don't know what it means because I've never been around it. And you may discover, you know, what you don't know is going to be what you need to know. And, you know, but without further ado, let's do our benevolent intentions, because I want to set the energy up right for this reading. Just be aware, like, as I have done each pile, it took maybe, this first pile I did within a day, and then I did the next pile. And then these last three, it took me like a week or two in between these three while I was doing my journeys. Journeys to mountains, journeys to saving my brother, you name it, whatever may be the case. But benevolent spirit guides, ancestors, divine creator, and the highest good version of the collective that we can become, please help channel messages from a loved one who is no longer physically here for the listener and what they wish for them to know. Guide them to the right pile or piles, and thank you for your wisdom, with much love and appreciation from your students and teachers. Now, last thing we're going to do is we're going to do some breath work, because I almost started to break down when I was talking about my grandparents. That's how much love I have for them. And so let's go ahead and breathe in. Focus on the pile. Breathe out. Breathe in. Let's release what we need to release. Breathe in. Let's get ready to receive some good messages, and breathe out. All right, guys, this is a long intro and I hope you stayed. But if you are ready to jump into your pile, your time descriptions are in the box below. Let's go ahead and get over into the piles. Hi, Pile 1. I'm excited to have you. Let's go ahead and dive into this departed loved one's messages for you. Let's go ahead and talk about the crystal that you've chosen. Now, I love that you've chosen this. I mean, when I'm doing this reading, we're kind of entering into spring, so this is what this kind of reminds me of. But this is jade. Wisdom, abundance, good luck. Jade is highly prized and sacred, a wonderful stone for protection and healing, known as a dream stone. Jade will stimulate messages and channel them into your dreams when placed on your third eye chakra. The ultimate good luck charm, Jade promotes prosperity in every aspect of your life by opening the heart chakra and boosting your ability to receive. Wealth is nothing without your health, and jade is a reminder of this true abundance, amplifying the good fortune of your vitality. Remember, you are a spiritual being having a human experience. Venus in Aries, Venus in Taurus, Gemini, and Libra. So this person, and I like to say this, is like they have been trying to connect with you. And when I find that they're trying to connect through you, through your subconscious, especially in your dreams, it's almost like in your physical life, there's been a cut off of some kind. And this is like the only place that they find that they're able to really have like that talk with you. So I encourage, like, when you are dreaming of this person and you wake up, please write everything you notice down. What are they wearing? What colors are they? Do you see numbers? Is there sense? Like, anything that you use for your senses is going to be very key for being able to, pick up the messages that they're trying to reveal through your subconscious. And there's a big emphasis on taking care of your health right now. I don't know if this is because their health may not have been very good for them, or it's just they were very health conscious. They cared a lot about, the mind and body and being able to take care of those two. And they understood that if you didn't do that, then, life could be cut short. You never know, especially like when you get like a severe diagnosis. And I really hope this isn't the case, but like when, you think you're healthy and then you find out that, you have cancer, and it changes the world for you. Or you may be someone that goes to the gym and then you suffer from a heart attack. Or, like when you hear a doctor talk about it and they're like, I was the healthiest person. I give people the advice, and even I am susceptible to having health issues just like everybody else. But they want you to really start paying attention to your health right now. That is a big thing that is going on. Pay attention to your mental health. Pay attention to what your body needs right now. And really try to find, that balance, having that love and balance wealth with patience and communication. And, when things get very frustrating with you, openly communicate it. Don't bottle it up. Don't hold it all in. Don't push things down. They want you to actually be able to experience what it is that you need to experience. And when your body is giving you telltale signs that something is wrong, something is not okay, they're going to be in your dreams. They're going to let you, and and they don't want to be that way in your dreams. They don't want to just arrive when something bad is going on. They want to be able to communicate and talk to you when things are going good as well. These people were your good luck charm. Now, this talked about being, Jade being good luck, and talking about wealth and abundance, and that's the kind of person they were. They brought abundance in your life. And when you have someone that had made your whole world feel full and they are no longer here, you start to feel a sense of lack, since there's like a gap missing. And I actually just recently had a bridge card come out in my archetype deck. And one of the things that I've noticed is bridges are meant to be built with the intention of connecting from one side to the other. And they can sense that this is a part of you that they want you to really look at the bridge on which you're standing on. Where are you wanting to go? Where are you finding that things are, and when I see a good luck card, that it makes me think of maybe you've had a lot of bad luck on your side. It's like you just can't get a break. You just can't. You've had like one thing after another happen, and they're coming in and they're just saying, listen, there's a lot that you can learn from these experiences right now. And, these lessons that we are learning, the lessons they have learned, and the luck that they have gained in life, it was something that happened by being positive, or just having a knowing what it is that they wanted in life, and taking care of themselves, taking care of those that they love. But I do sense a lot of love here from this person. This is someone that I could see, like, if they were to come over to your house, like, it didn't matter what you would be doing. Like, they just brought a lot of energy about them. They were somebody that cared a lot about having that balance, because I see Venus and Libra. They, there was just, and they may have been stubborn. They may have, like, when they had an idea, they took off. And then you were chasing behind them. And it's kind of like they grew and grew. And like the entire time you may have been holding their hand, or they've been trying to lead you almost. It feels like I just had this image of almost like a brother or sister. Somebody that you just, you loved being with. But whoever this is, this energy check that I'm getting, and I'm getting a lot of different feelings, but I just imagine somebody that, you grew up with them, you were someone you could have had a treasure map with, and you too would probably end up finding the treasure. And maybe there's something they're wanting you to find here for you. But I'm going to go ahead and put that up there. Now, let me go ahead and talk about the energy check. So I'm going to go ahead and get these out on the table, if you will. Now, let me go ahead and push these off to the side so that way I can just like dive into one message at a time, if that is possible. So I have the Sun, which I will show the card in case you can't see with my light. So self-express and embody truth. So I have the Sun in Taurus, trust, patience, and sensuality. In House 1, individuality, self-image, and approach to life. Now, this makes me think of someone you looked up to. This makes me think of anybody that was, it's kind of like if you seen them like walk out in the street and they were wearing overalls and that wasn't the trend then, I could see you being like, I want to be like that person. I want to be just like them. I've looked up to them. I wish I could be like them. And like you understood how they made you feel, and like having a piece like you could wear with you was very important to you. And so this person with Taurus being here, like I will say, yes, they were probably very stubborn. They were probably stuck in their way, and you had to prove to them, like if an idea was a good idea, show them, especially if they've already tried that idea. And with the Sun, synchronicities were a thing. It's like things lined up when y'all were together. And this person, they were in tune with their own environment. They had a way of being able to express themselves, the way that they identified with something. And they just had so much vitality and life within them. And they cared a lot about shining what really mattered within them. Now, the Sun does deal with father energy. So that was another thing that I kind of picked up. This was probably, if this was a father in your life, this is someone you could talk to about anything because you trusted them. You didn't, they were, if you had a problem, they already had a plan in place the instant that you talked to them about it. And they cared about truth. They cared about being what they were meant to be born to be, if that makes sense. And they had a lot of joy. This is an experience of masculine energy. So you don't need to, be male, or this person doesn't need to be male. They just had a way of being driven, like how this card was talking about Venus and Aries. And the way they experienced love in life and how they showed love was really important to them. And they just took control. They knew when they needed to take control. And that's probably one of the things that may be missing, is if your life is feeling like it's all over the place, this person is coming into your dreams and trying to help you see where are the reins at in your life. Just like with the Chariot card, like where are you driving? How does your vehicle operate? Are you on autopilot? And this person could bring, this unique offering to the collective tapestry. This makes me think of a patchwork quilt. This person experienced quite a bit of different things, especially when they were trying to figure out who they were in their own life. And I don't see this as being like a quilt that has one specific pattern that repeated and then went back and forth. This is someone that they picked up something and then picked up another thing. And then by the end of their life, when you looked at everything they have accomplished, it's this beautiful patchwork. And I'm a big patchwork person. I love patchwork quilts. So this person, they lived their life. They trusted the people that were around them, and they cared a lot about being able to express themselves and not holding that part of themselves back. Now, Taurus cannot be rushed. They didn't like being rushed. They cared a lot, like when they would plant something, that seed that they would plant, They cared about from the seed to sprout to bud to the blossom. Like they had to go, they didn't skip steps. They had to go through the motions. And if they understood the motions, then there were things that they may have tried to teach you in your life. Like, no. If you put something in the ground and we're planting it, we don't need to dig it up every day to see if it sprouted. I can see them doing like those little experiments where you take the helicopter seed and you plant it in a cup and you put it by a window and you water it and you get to watch it as it grows. Or when you're taking care of animals even. Like my grandfather, for one, I remember we had a bird that got an injured wing, and we had a bird cage, and he helped nurse it back to health. And when it got old enough to go back into the world, he released it and let it go. And I remember being so distraught. Why did you release it? We will never see it again. And it's not about keeping the things that we heal or the things that have healed us in some way. It's about allowing that thing that has healed us to go and return back to almost, where it came from, if you will. And I don't know why I'm channeling it like that, but there's this emphasis on being okay with letting something actually go back to, like, if you are someone that has relationships in your life and it's like you find these injured dogs, these injured animals, and you heal them and you take care of them, and then when it's time to let them go, it's hard to let them go. And with people, even like these relationships, it's like you found this person who needed a lot of support and encouragement in their life, and then the instant that they get their wings and they spread and fly them, it's like a chunk is gone. This person is a major rock in your family, if I will. And friends, I can attest to this with my own husband's family and his friends. It's like his friends became my own family, not by blood, but by showing up and being who they are. So if this is an adoptive parent, then they're coming in to really kind of let you know, trust where you are and be okay that, right now they have their wings and it was time for them to go where they needed to go. But that doesn't mean they're not going to be in, your life just because you can't see them. And I did hear, like, please, especially like when you're doing readings like this, like, you don't need to search. You don't need to, that treasure map that I'm talking about now again you've already found them. You've already found the treasure. You've already found the abundance that you need and the wisdom, just by, when you were with them. And you don't need to constantly look for them. Just connect with who you are. They want you to, have your own self identity, if you will. But this person experienced their life through their senses: smell, touch, the way they listen into a conversation. They really participated, and you would know if something didn't satisfy this person. They would make it very evident and they wouldn't try it again, or they would just, they wanted to experience life to the fullest. But trust and patience was important to them. And if you haven't been stubborn about something, they may be trying to say you need to buckle down and be stubborn about your boundaries, stubborn about what you want to do with your life, how you want to express yourself. Because house 1 is dawn energy. It's like when you first wake up and you have the whole rest of your day. I mean, from dawn to sunset to figure out, how do I want to spend my life? How do I want to conquer this day? And this is something where you choose to be here. They chose to be here. They chose to be there with you. They chose, even if the situation may have been very difficult for them, they chose to be here for you. And house 1 is about action and instigation. They cared getting the ball rolling. They didn't like seeing. So yes, they are the rock in your family, but this rock moved in your life. It didn't just stay where it was. It moved. And I found these rocks I found along a creek in a town I used to live in. And even if these rocks had, eventually broke down and the water broke them to little pieces of rocks, that rock still came from the same source. If you get what I mean by this, even if down the road, ancestors, descendants, even after everything has been just kind of like pebbles at that point, it still came from the same source. And they want you to kind of see that. So action and instigation. And they may even have had a problem about really sharing some of their troubles with you. They may have had a mask while they were facing the world because they didn't want to appear weak. They didn't want others to pick up what may have been going on in their life because they still wanted to feel themselves when they were with their loved ones. And so they may have been very careful about their posture and the way their body language operated when they were around people. You may have seen, like, with certain people, they may have stood up straight because it's like the instant that someone seen something was off about them, it was tough for them to be able to open up and reveal. My brother is a Taurus, and trying to get him to open up, because he's sort of like a comedian, if you will, in my family, and making jokes, that mask I was talking about, this person could have been very funny, and people paid attention when they entered the room. They really lit it up, and they took pride in who they were. They were very magnetic and cared a lot about that first impression, and they would let you know if they didn't like someone or if they felt like something was off with a person. They would let you know. And so if you are currently around someone and you just recently had a dream with this person that has moved on, how did they talk to you? Or if you found that they were just kind of shaking their head about whoever it is that you were currently around, would this person been accepted by, this departed loved one? Yes or no? That is one big question that is coming through, because they care about first impressions. They care about how their senses are making them feel about a person, or if they are causing you to change for the wrong reasons. So please think about what this could mean for you. What is changing in my life? Is it changing for the right reasons, or am I being forced to change my image? Or or do I notice that I'm more tense when I'm around somebody? That is one thing that I am getting from this. But let me go ahead and talk about their specific message that they want you to know. So I have patience. Now is the time to learn, study, and gather information. I didn't mean to shake my camera. Enjoy being a student, because in the future you're going to synthesize your knowledge into action. And then, if I don't kick these cards out of the way, Mystique, keep charging ahead and don't take no for an answer. Expect miraculous solutions to appear. The ball rolling, the instigations. This person, Taurus, patience. Patience has been repeating through this message. Whatever you are rushing right now, they want you to know right now there's a lot for you that you need to gather right now. You may not know everything, or whatever you are learning right now, especially if you are a student, take the time to be a student. Engage your mind and really use it. Synthesize what you are knowing into action. So when you learn something, how can you use what you learn to benefit you right now? This person, if they learn something, it's like this person was probably constantly looking for information, trying things out. Back to that patchwork quilt. When something was no longer working for them, it was time to do something different. That Taurus energy, where they're stubborn until they learn something new and they're applying something different. So like, I'm thinking of like, how like when you were dyeing Easter eggs, I'm thinking of Easter right now, because we just recently had Easter at my house, and this is a timeless reading whenever it finds you. But there are colors that you can dye your egg. And we all know primary colors. If you mix like red and yellow, you get orange. Or if you let one egg sit for longer in the cup and then put it in another cup, you get different colors, different shades. And this person is saying, allow yourself to really immerse yourself in this cup that you are in currently and watch how it will dye you. If it doesn't make you happy, if it doesn't let you use your senses, or if it doesn't allow you to really express yourself or be your own person, then you will know that this is not something you should be spending so much time in. But I can see this is a time. And if you have been putting off a project or some kind of goal in your life, this is something they want you to actually charge into being resourceful and not allowing people to downplay your needs, if you will. And if people are pushing you aside, putting you on the side burner, or there are things that you need to get done, but you've been taking care of everybody else during this time, they're telling you to not take no for an answer and just do what you need to. Trust your third eye. Trust what Spirit has been revealing to you and what this individual who isn't here has been trying. And I see this dark. Maybe you haven't been dreaming a whole bunch, and then all of a sudden, bam, you have this clear image of this specific image, and everything else around it is black because they want you to focus on that one thing. Because if you had anything else around you, you may pay attention to the wrong thing. So write down things. If you know someone knows more than you, take in what they have to share. I did this whenever I worked, and this is something I always, this is wisdom that I can share even, but always, especially if someone is a lot older than you, what can they teach you? What can you learn from them? And whether or not that they have resources that they can help connect you, so that way, then you can synthesize your knowledge into action. But right now they want you to be patient, to stop saying no or letting people tell you no if you have been waiting for someone to give you the yes. Don't wait for someone to give you the yes. But that's kind of like what I'm getting from what they really want you to know. But patience, mystique, and you don't need to reveal everything that is going on. You can be mysterious. This person may have been very mysterious, and if I'm sharing something and you're like, that's not how they really were, and then there goes my crow. So yes, please trust your intuition. Trust what is going on in your life. And if there's someone around you that has been around this person, say, hey, what were they like before I came into this world? Like, it's that kind of feeling that I'm getting. But let me go ahead and reveal a lesson they wish to share. Now, you have 2 lessons that they wish to share. And just like you have 2 things that they wish you to know, it's like there's a lot that they want to share with you. There's a lot of abundance, knowledge is one form of abundance that you can have in life. But we have, I remember, soul plan, the fated life versus destiny life, and then the cosmic heart, devotion, potency, make your life a moving prayer. So let me go ahead and get the book here, and then I will talk about what it is that, they had to learn, or a lesson that they wish to share with you. There was a moment before you were born when you chose the conditions of the life you're living right now. When you plotted out these exact moments along the timeline of your life, we live in a world of free will, and therefore these moments become our destiny only through saying yes. The fated life is the one we were born into. The destiny life is the one our soul chooses, and it takes courage and faith. If you pull this card, it's because you're likely now to face to face with the choice to follow the destiny life over the fated life. To trust the path your soul is calling you toward, and to remember that this moment was prearranged on your life's timeline. You may find yourself at a crossroads, at a moment when you're being called to make a decision, to keep walking the perfectly laid out path before you, or choose the one less traveled. You may be facing a change of career, a new relationship, a difficult decision, or something else that requires courage and faith. You're being invited to remember your soul's greater plan and to surrender to it. When you're confronted with a path that's undefined, it's normal for doubt to rear its head. In fact, this is a certain sign that you're facing your soul's greater plan. Every hero in his or her life journey comes eye to eye with doubt. The only way around it is through it. It's all a part of the larger plan. What are you being called to do to surrender to your soul's plan? Now, I want to kind of like repeat that last bit. Every hero in his or her life comes eye to eye with doubt. The only way around it is through it. So they can definitely see that you're right now where you're at. You're at a crossroads, and it can be very difficult to know where it is that you need to go. And this person was probably someone that, that treasure map, I keep going back to it. And, you see the dotted lines where you need to go. And it's like if you're, numbers from 1 to 100 and you have to follow that from 1, 2, 3, and you're drawing that line and your map doesn't have that. Be patient. Sometimes those lines only appear when you are clearly thinking, when you can think clearly, when you can observe your area, or just certain parts of the year, things may not be revealed. Like when all the leaves die off the trees and they enter into winter, we discover a new landscape. Whereas, when spring and summer come in, it's a whole different environment. And that's kind of like what they're wanting you to see is, remember what that may be like when you were experiencing different parts of your timeline, when they're full and when, there aren't any leaves on your tree. But what are you being called to do in surrender? That is the lesson that they're trying to show you, because there may be something you need to let go of. Maybe having that perfectly laid out plan is something you care a lot about. You want to know exactly the details of what needs to be done. And life can have a way of, throwing that all out the window. So what is it that you truly are wanting to do? Let me go ahead and get into the cosmic heart. Patience is key, and saying yes. I love that it said keep charging ahead and don't take no for an answer. And, with I remember, stop. Say yes. Stop saying no. Stop putting things off. I'm sorry, I'm getting distracted again. If I can find this page. Okay. The cosmic heart. When you surrender to a state of devotion, you find yourself flowing with all of life. You're being called to refocus your attention deep within, to the intelligence of your own heart, to bow with deep reverence to your inner temple, to live your life in devotion to this place, to make your life one big moving prayer. Perhaps you felt a bit off kilter lately, sensing that the potency of why you're doing things has gotten a little watered down or weak. Perhaps you've forgotten what made you start doing them in the first place. If so, this is your call to take a moment and reconnect with the truth at the very center of your heart, to get back to the essence of what you're about, to devote your life to what you care most about, to turn your gaze deep. There are seasons for harvest. Oh my goodness, Spirit. There are seasons for harvesting and seasons for sowing. Right now, you're being called to plant your soul seed and sing to them with deep devotion, to feed them with the sweet waters of your own soul, to lose yourself in the potency of what is the most that expands your heart, to live your life according to what makes you come alive rather than what everyone else thinks, to make your life one big moving prayer. How can you make your life a moving prayer is the big question, the lesson here. And, talking about planting something, that Taurus energy, just the patience that you are needing right now, and understanding why you are doing what you're doing, or like when you're taking medicine and it's no longer having that same effect for you. What do you need to change? What do you need to alter? Or kind of like maybe the medicine doesn't work because you've already reached that prescription date, if you will. This can be a spiritual prescription, and you don't need it anymore. Now's the time for you to, focus on other things in your life. But let me go ahead and talk about their message of comfort that they have here. So we have the Emperor card, and I loved, oh my goodness, the bird, I just caught the two, and okay, so there's always going to be these mountains and obstacles that are going to be around you that you're going to have to overcome. Some are going to be easier than others, and some are going to be mountains you don't even have to climb in order to receive the lesson in your life. But this person, especially with the Emperor energy, I did kind of talk about father energy because I did have the Sun card, but this person, it's like I've been having these flashbacks of someone in their childhood kind of like running after somebody or holding someone's hand, and then it's like fast forward to like a lot older, if you will, or that specific figure that is very fatherly, an older person. Basically, they have their shit together, if you will. They cared a lot, like I said, they cared a lot about how they were perceived, and they had a lot of respect from people around them. I mean, we have the Emperor card here, and they're always going to be there to defend you and find ways to help you feel stable and in control. The Emperor cares a lot about control. And if your life has been chaotic and you are taking in this message, that is the biggest sign here that they're trying to help you see where you are driving that vehicle. The influence they have over you is very protective. Oftentimes, they will nudge and push you constantly to do the right thing. They cared about their integrity, and they understood what, the Emperor, if you know what, like, look up good kings, if you will. And one of the archetypes I just recently dived into was the king archetype, and understanding what makes a good king, a bad king. And there may be, masculine energies around you that they're trying to prevent from coming into your life that may be toxic. Now, they're going to nudge and push you, like I said. Now, this could be all of a sudden you're thinking about something and it just comes out of the blue, or you're like, I kind of want to do this, and then like you feel that nudge, that push to do it. That's them giving you the thumbs up. But they want you to mean what it is that you are saying, and to not let imposter syndrome prevent you from enjoying the fruits of your labor. So so imposter syndrome, it's like, who am I to do this? Who am I to, dare do the thing that I've wanted to do with my life? Who am I to want to, dress up and sit on my own throne? And I got this Aries energy right here that's kind of peeking out at me. But you can feel that there's something different that's changing within you, and they want you to actually see that this change that is going on within you is going to help you take control of your life and help you keep charging ahead, especially with this mystique. It's going to be very mysterious, and that is someone, like I said, they are a very mysterious person. They don't let people really know what's going on in their life because they keep their head held high, and they may have grew up in a time where it was impossible for masculine energy to really delve into their emotions and feel, because, thinking of my grandfather never had a range of emotions, if you will. It was very straightforward, the person he was. I've never seen him cry. I've never seen him. And so this person was a very strong person, but that doesn't mean that you need to cut yourself off from your own emotions, especially if you're starting to feel them kind of like, do you see how these waves are calm, or do you feel like there's a tidal coming in and you're constantly being pulled back and forth, or things like, again, here's this dark energy that is going on around here, just like in Mystique. And they're wanting you to focus on the one main image that is around you, and everything else needs to fade into the background. So we have the sun here. And like I said, the sun is all about your self-expression and how you embody, your truth and who you are to your core. And they want you to see that. Focus on the things that are making themselves more available in your life. The more open it is, the more accessible it is, especially information, that's how you're going to know that this is the right path for you. But they're here for you to defend you and find ways to help you. Now I'm going to go ahead and get your charms and your Scrabble on the board, so if you will bear with me. All right, so here's your Scrabble and your charms. Now, you are more than welcome to take any of these letters and see if they can make the initials for the person that you're thinking about, or if you see that you can spell other words, go ahead and write all these letters down. Now, some of the words I was able to spill out was feeling that tug, like I was kind of mentioning earlier. They would nudge and push. I spelled, I can't even sound it out, if you will, like it's a type of shepherd's pipe, if you will, or flagellant, not flagellant, like we're talking about gas, but or even league. They were in a league of them own. I was able to spell that, but the one that I stuck with was float, and then I separated it with eagle. And so eagles are like, they can be messengers, and they have this ability to see the bigger picture because they're at a higher standpoint, if you will. It makes me think of air energy and being able to effectively communicate what needs to communicate, and what is floating and what is sinking for you is going to be really key here for you when you are connecting to this person. And eagles fly, and this made me kind of think of a bird with its wings, flying, so that way it doesn't hit the water and, sink below, because it knows where it knows where its environment is. And so where are you at currently in your life? Where are you floating? Where are you sinking in? How can you give yourself a bigger perspective? So this angel in this picture is sitting on a rock. She's not in the water, but she can gain much more clarity and perspective in the sky rather than being so close to, this water. And right now the waters seem calm, but we don't know what's underneath the waters. We don't know what could be there. So if we can get a bigger perspective over it, we may be able to see what lies beneath us. Now, let me go ahead and talk about these charms. Now, these charms can be parts of who they were. This could be something that they may have done in their life. Like I said, I'm channeling for a lot of people here. So this is a golf ball. Now, they may have had this as a hobby, but one of the things this is another key takeaway for patience being necessary in your life. I have the number 2, and this word says call away. They are just a call away. They're always with you. So anytime you want to talk to them and meditate and just kind of channel what you need to channel, so that way you can see what it is that they're up in the sky and they see you kind of bobbing along, and they're trying to do this swoop down to reveal what they need to reveal. And they may have cared a lot about eagles. They may care a lot about just, that nature, anything that is in the air that flies. It makes me think of airplanes, if you will. And the only reason I say that is because of this service pin. They may have been in the service of some kind. They don't necessarily have to be, but they were someone that was, they serviced the community. They serviced their family. They cared a lot about being a part of something. Now, this golf ball has a lot of dents and impressions in there. And so first impressions are very important to them. And they've had a lot of first impressions in their life. And they want you to notice those impressions and where you need to have the most patience. And when things don't work out the same, they don't work out that good. When you're trying something new in your life, be a student. You don't need to be the master or the teacher. It's like, when we go into learning something, it's like we want to be able to teach somebody how to do it. And if we're not good at it the first time, then it's like discarding it altogether. But be a student, be patient, and learn what stroke works best for you. So floating, what helps you stay afloat? Laying on your back, weighting your arms and your legs, but what is working for you? And, line up your shot. Actually know where it is that, back to the golf reference, or putt-putt even. If you know that you need to bounce back and forth between, two different structures, walls even, because at some point you're going to have to make a turn. You're going to have to make a left or a right, or when you line that shot up and it bounces off, it actually takes you straight to the hole in which you need to sink, your shot. And they're wanting you to observe your surroundings. They want you to look at where you are and if you're using the right tools, because the last thing you want to do, I'm sure you could do it, but I just, like, in my head, I'd seen somebody, it's like, I'm going to learn how to golf, and you bring sewing needles. It's like, use the right tools for the right job. So I have this Leo energy. They may have had Leo in their placements, but Leo's life of the party. They loved the stage. They loved being at the front and center, because we have this emperor here, and all eyes were on them, and they had a lot of courage. They have a lot of pride in the things that they love and care about and how they were with people. And that's just another indicator. I mean, they could have had Leo placements, like I was saying, but that doesn't necessarily mean they had Leo placements. It just meant that this is the kind of person, and this line is very playful, the way it's looking, and taking care of your pride, your people. So service pin, and I know I kind of talked about it, but this person cared a lot about being of service to something, a greater cause, a greater good. And while you were floating, where are you wanting to float to? Where is your true north? And this is a Scorpion. So this could be even talking about Scorpio energy, if you will. But this, people around you that, those first impressions, at first you may be like, oh, this person is just going to sting me, but they're actually someone who is meant to help assist you. And, trust yourself. Allow yourself to go through, purge and releases, to not try to control a situation to the point where you find that you're losing touch with yourself. And, lean on your friends that have been there for you, that are trying to really help you, because this looks like at one point it was part of a heart, but those that can really help you complete this part of your life, where this person may have been this heart, this could have been your friend, this could have been a father figure with healthy masculine energy, and they want you to be able to see that there are people that share this exact same energy. Like how I was saying, we all come from that same source. And even if this was to chip away, we're still part of that same primary thing. And this is a little charm of the Eiffel Tower. So travel may have been very important to them, or they're wanting you to be able to travel where you want to go. Think about a destination point, or if they had want to travel to a specific destination point. Paris makes me think of a very romantic country and very rich in culture and foods and senses. Back to those senses, they want you to use your senses to travel, to explore, to see where it is that you can find your place, where you actually want to be, where it can bring you a lot of abundance and, be your own good luck charm. But my dears, this person that is with you, they're not going to just leave you. They're going to show up in ways that are unexpected. And when you see that there is only one thing being illuminated in your life, there is a reason. Maybe you've been focused and trying to multitask on a lot of things, and then all of a sudden it's like, why can't I do all these other things? I can normally do this, but right now I can't. It's because there's something here that you need to be focused on. They need to see where it is you are floating, if you are sinking or if you are flying. Who are your friends in your life, and what bigger cause are you serving? And truly remember what it is that you want to do, so that way you can move forward in your life. But I love this person's energy so much, and they really helped kind of like calmed me from my first, from the intro and thinking about my grandparents. This person has really helped me kind of like, you need to breathe. and think about what it is that you want to do. It's okay. And this person was patient with you, very patient. So if this person was patient with you, they want you to be patient with yourself. Take your time, but don't stop moving is the big message. Now, I'm going to go ahead and leave your reading here. Thank you so much for being a part of this reading. I really hope it resonates, and always remember to take what resonates. Don't try to force something to fit if it's not meant to be. And if you were called to another pile, you are more than welcome to go ahead and jump into another pile. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here, my pile 1, and have a blessed day. Hello, pile 2. Let's go ahead and dive into your departed loved one's messages. And I love that you chose this because this makes me think of being able to see Earth from a different perspective. And I know we just recently in the news, we had a mission that was sent to the moon. And it was something we hadn't done in almost 53 years, if you will. So this is like, where are we at now, and where's the future going to take us, if you will? So this person, let me go ahead and read. So this is Lapis Lazuli, royalty, transformation, immortality. Regal in all forms, Lapis Lazuli was most prized and sought after in ancient Egypt, when it was believed to have powers over immortality and the ability to expand the heart's capacity for love. Lapis Lazuli guides the soul and protects its journey from life to death. True wisdom comes from within, and Lapis Lazuli facilitates that by unearthing your core truths. This stone appears when you are ready for spiritual transformation and takes you to the depths of who you are, unveiling deeper awareness so that you can become the leader of your own life, with Venus being in Sagittarius. You're going through a personal transformation right now, and that is the biggest key takeaway that this individual wants you to understand, and they are trying to assist you while you are doing this. They're helping you be a leader of your life, and I had to write a big O star next to it because that is the emphasis here for this energy, is when you find that you have been letting others lead your life for you, this person is helping you take control so you can, be that person you want to be. And they're helping you expand your capacity for love not just for them. If you thought that would be the most impossible thing, it's like you're a lover and they see that in you, and your love is not just meant to be solely for just like one person in this life. You were meant to love so many more people. And and it's weird that we have like royalty and immortality in here, because this person, it almost feels like, their love is immortal, and transformation is an immortal quality that they're kind of wanting to emphasize and want you to, embody. Be okay to transform when you need to synthesize, to alchemize, if you will, and try new things when you need to try new things. And, treat yourself like royalty. Don't put yourself on the back burner. Don't say, I'll wait till the time is right. And back to that, seeing something from, above, and, are you grounded right now? Or are you kind of like lost in space and kind of like, oh my gosh, how do I connect back to reality is what I'm hearing. And so this energy that is coming through is trying to kind of like really help you see that. Sagittarius they're very positive. They're very like, it's hard to find a Sagittarius where they see things with a negative twist, if you will, or a negative side. This person always seen the good side of things and the positives and focused on those kinds of qualities. And you're probably looking at this and saying, oh my gosh, it's a square earth, or it's very flat, it's only two-dimensional, and life is no longer feeling like it's three-dimensional, and things are very thin and not solid. But that's being channeled through me kind of like that as well. They're wanting you to see when things are thin and hard to walk on, or if you need to give yourself a much more solid surface. Now, in my last reading, I kind of talked about an individual who was like a sphere. They were a rock, but they were constantly moving and rolling in life, and that's the kind of presence they had. But in your reading, it's like right now you may have been rolling and coursing through your life, and they need you to, the world is round, but they're wanting you to kind of like make something very sturdy, stable in your life and structured, because things are expanding in different directions, and they want you to focus on what ways in which you want to expand. But I'm going to go ahead and put this card up here and go ahead and talk about the energy check with them. Now, this energy is going to kind of like influence, the rest of the cards I have here, but this should be another clarification about kind of like what kind of person they were, so you're in the right pile. But let's go ahead. So I have Mars, so move forward and defend yourself. That makes a lot of sense. This person, when they knew they needed to stand their ground, they would make sure there was no possibility for something to fall off course, if you will. Because if they were like the world, and they were your world, I will say that, because I do have this image of Earth. They were your world. They were your place. They provided that sense of stability in your life, but they were somebody that knew how to defend themselves and not settle for less. So we have Mars in Capricorn, ambition, realism, and methodical steps. This person was they were highly driven, they were very protective, and they were oh my goodness, I'm getting lost again. But, and that could be what it is like when they find themselves lost, they don't stay where they are. They move forward. Being, it's like staying still would get you killed, if you will. I know that was really weird how that came out. But this person may have always been on the move. That's the biggest thing, is they were moving, and, where their ambitions took them. And they cared a lot about respect, having respect from those that they were around. They cared a lot about earning that respect. This was a person that worked their way up a ladder. And I've got this Mars battle energy that's coming in, and I kind of talked about a service member in the last one. But they started from the bottom and they had to work their way up. And this kind of looks like a pyramid. I wish you can kind of see how the lines make this look like a pyramid, Earth. But they had to work their way up the ladder to get to where they are in life. And they had to be very methodical about their approach. Now, the other thing is House 4. So Mars in Capricorn and House 4, we have cultural and family roots, home, peace, and comfort. And so there's that authority figure that I keep having in my mind. This was a very, very, very disciplined energy to home and family. They could have been the main provider. They may have been a workaholic, a drill sergeant, if you will. And, sometimes things may have been very tense. When you walk into the room and you can feel like everything is in order. And if you were to move something, like move it to the side, they would know. It could be the smallest thing, but they would know if something had been misplaced. Order and control were important to them. And if your life has felt like things were no longer, you were just kind of like moving through the motions, not with any kind of direction, this energy, this person was probably, it's like if a family trip was planned, or if this was a friend, even, like they took control. They had everything planned out. Even the emergency plans were planned out if things didn't go accordingly. This House 4 talks about mother roots. So this could be a very strong and protective mother, an individual that has a strong sense of duty to ancestors. They cared about grandparents, their parents, and those before them. There was a pecking order, if you will. So if you, like, say you have your child, and then you have your father and your grandfather, grandmother, they had a lot of respect for them. And they spoke to them with respect, and this person was that kind of person. And this person could, they could be very argumental, but they do it for a sense of love. Like if they know that you're not going in the direction that you need to go in, they're going to argue with you. And this person may have disagreed quite often with things that you may have been doing in your life that, it wasn't right for them. It may have been right for you, but it wasn't right for them. But right now they're kind of like in a different, so they're in a different spiritual plane. Like I was saying, like they're no longer physically here. So they're in a spiritual plane. And now they're kind of like tapping into a different part where they can kind of see where you are going. They can feel the energy where you are currently. And they're just trying to, like, in a loving way, and I mean this in the most respectful ways. They're trying to push you, not force you, but they want you to actually start defending yourself. This person wants you to defend yourself, defend your ideas, defend your position, to be able to say your piece that you need to say, especially if you are at an authority figure level now and you have your own children or you're in your own work environment. They care a lot about you being able to, strategize and be a part of something bigger than yourself. And to take time, this person may have done a lot of work in their life and they may not have been able to really be with you because of this. They, when you don't have, two sets of financial income, if you will, and so one person had to do more of the work, they've had to take more control, or maybe there was something that was absent in your life, and that is one of the reasons why they, couldn't be where they needed to be. And, mother energy is supposed to be nurturing and patient and kind, and be able to wipe your tears and to empathize and to understand everything you're going through. But it's like in their life, they kind of had to cut that off because maybe things were a war for them. They may have grown, because Mars energy makes me think of war energy. It makes me think of conflicts that they've constantly had to survive through. And you may not have understood like why they were the way they were. And they're just this energy is saying like, they're trying to give you a life that was much better than it was for them. So that royalty energy that is coming through, they didn't start off feeling like a royal person. They didn't feel noble. They didn't feel like, how do I say this? This person right here, and I'm channeling this, is they had to do so much work so you didn't have to do the work that they had to do. And they want you to kind of like see that for what it is and, really take that into account. If you find that your life is kind of like off kilter, or, people are, they're just like, I put a backbone in you. Where's your backbone at? And you are deserving of great things. You deserve great things is what I'm hearing. And you deserve peace. You deserve comfort. You deserve to be given a chance. But if you operate as if you don't have a chance, then you will never reap the rewards in life. And that's very, I don't know. Oh my goodness. Don't take things for granted. Think about the next step that you need to take is what I'm hearing from this. And that's the energy that I'm getting from them, is they want you to think about where your feet are. What are you climbing right now? What do you need for this climb? What kind of gear? What is the environment? What kind of weather do you find yourself in? But be ready to take on any kind of battle, altercation, and to not back down when things get too hard. And I know I'm trying to do an energy check, but it's like they want to speak through these cards right off the bat. It's like they're wanting you be realistic. Be realistic. And if you're a dreamer, this person may have had a hard time dreaming. They may have had a hard time being able to go after their own goals and ambitions. They weren't able to really settle down and just stay in one spot, it felt like, because it could have been very dangerous for them if they did it. That's what I'm feeling like, because I'm feeling battles, but this person wants you to be very realistic about your situation that you're in. And if it's a good thing for you and you know it's going to propel you in the right direction, then defend yourself, move forward. Act as if you were the drill sergeant. If people are used to you being very passive and accepting what is going on in your life, this person is saying, now it's your turn. And they're giving you permission to do your best impression of them when you need to take control of your life. That is what I'm getting from this. But Capricorn makes me think of a little bit of devil energy. When people have been taking advantage. And that's what I'm getting here. It's like they notice there are certain things in your life where people haven't been treating you like you were treating other people like royalty, and they noticed that. And now it's your turn to be treated like royalty, or, show them what happens when they cross boundaries. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about a specific message that they want you to know. So I have Archangel Raphael. I'm helping you heal through physical challenges in yourself and others. You're a healer like me. So if you felt called to pile 1 because they had the green jade, I encourage you to because I am feeling some similar energy from pile 1 over into this energy, because I did talk a little bit about service members. But anything that you feel is a challenge for you, they're trying to heal that, to kind of like lose that sense of fear and to embody it, so you can prove to others and yourself that you can move beyond those things. If physical challenges, so this makes me think of, anything that you may have thought was a disability, or disabled you, or limited your quality of life, or prevented you from being able to achieve your dreams. They're trying to heal that within you right now. And to really trust that, if there's something deep within you that you do need healed, whether it be physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, they're wanting you to release that, or so that way you can start seeing the signs that are being given to you. And because this is an archangel, it's not like my other angel card. So archangels, they're the big major emphasis. They're here to help protect you, help heal you, and move forward. And if at the end of the day, this is what I'm hearing. I hear like the biggest challenger that you are facing right now is yourself. And they are working alongside with you while you are going through this battle, where you are testing your limits, you're testing, what you're willing to put up with in this life. But you're a healer, and this person had a way of healing others and helping people confront their own. It makes me think of, the wounded healer, Chiron. I pronounce it either or way, but like when normal medicines don't work for you, then that's where it's like, what can I do that would work for me? How can I provide certain placebos in my life that help my mind know, okay, this is what's going to work for me. Hypnotherapy, that just came to my mind. Cognitive behavioral therapy, especially when you are the challenge itself. That's what I'm getting here. But the main message here is you heal people when you're around them. And when you have the biggest wound than anyone else, then it's time to ground yourself and start focusing on what your body needs or what your mind needs. And before this world can be round again and move along, then before it can move along, you need to ground yourself, is what I'm trying to say, if I can speak. But I don't know why it is, but like I got very hot when I was talking about this. Like I feel very hot right now, like hot flashes. I'm feeling like this person, like Mars energy, hot, temperature, anger management, those kind of things may have been really hard for them, but they were things that were easy when you were around. Like you were able to kind of like calm their temper, and you know, they may have been able to do that for you. But I'm going to go ahead and talk about their lesson that they wish to kind of share with you. So we have all paths lead to home. Inner authority, intuition, turn your gaze within. Inner authority, taking control of your inner world right now. Taking control of your inner world. But let me go ahead and get the book and dive into the lesson. Oh my goodness, Lisa. It's normal to look to the external world for answers and guidance. What's revolutionary is turning your gaze inward. What's revolutionary, guys? Turning your gaze inward. You're being called to source your guidance from within, to study the terrain of your inner landscape, to develop a reliable relationship with your soul. The more time you spend connecting with your soul, the deeper the connection will become. The challenge for empaths is staying connected without cutting off from the world. The best way to do this is to develop a daily practice that helps you to keep checking in, to draw on the wisdom within, and let that be the authority in your life. If this card appears, you may be called to develop or switch up your spiritual practice, to get into the habit of turning your gaze within, getting centered for the day, before consuming anything from the outside world, to start from a feeling of at-homeness, and throughout each day, to find simple ways to keep coming home. This doesn't mean switching off from the realities of today's world. We need as many conscious people as possible living with their eyes wide open. Rather, it's a call to start your day from a place of connectedness, grace, and devotion. So when you go out into the world and when you let the world in, you do it from an unshakable state of being. A state where you draw your inner strength, authority, and guidance from a place deep, deep within. How are you being called to gaze within? They're wanting you to turn your attention inward, to focus on the things that need to be healed in your life, the things that you have been defending or putting up a wall around, and how you can develop more of a sense of self-respect and understand that even if we don't know where the road is taking us, eventually that path is going to lead us where it is that we're actually meant to be. But they're wanting you to turn your gaze inward, so that higher perspective that I'm talking about, where you're looking at the world from a different place. And the more that you come home to that embodiment, the more that you will understand what it is that you're meant to do, where your roots are taking you, where your true sense of peace and comfort are. But since we're talking about comfort now, let's talk about their message of comfort. So I have the moon. So they've been staying beside you when it's been very difficult to sleep. This makes me think of somebody that is up at night, or, your dreams are coming through and it's hard to distinguish your emotions from, instincts, your ego, or, are you doing something from a rational state? But when a traumatic memory surfaces, they try to guide you down a path so that way you don't stay or linger where the most pain is. The illusions that are around you they will flicker, and they're going to help you see when things are not as they seem, because it's like the light turns on and the light turns off. And not actually, I really hope you if you start seeing lights turn on and off in your house, please check in with an electrician. And if the electrician says it's okay, like really start to notice when your emotions are taking control and you are letting them guide you rather than, taking, being that leader I was talking about in the beginning, being the leader of your life. They're helping you understand and see other people's intentions. They're trying to help you see if someone has their best interest for you, or if there is a position that has, that is actually meant for you. But the moon is a source of connection, and that is one way that they connect with you. Whereas in my last reading, the one way that the previous person connected was through their dreams even. And talking about the night and day scenario, I talked about it in that reading, and I'll talk about it in this one because I feel like it is very important. When you're having your dreams, or you're starting to notice that you're not able to focus on multiple things as if you could before, they're going to put emphasis specifically on the things that you need to. So we see this world, and this is the only thing our eye is focused on. Whereas in here, it's like they're trying to show you different sides to, or the pros and cons even, to a situation or person, and how they operate, or how they are actually making you feel. And if you are actually defending yourself, or if you're taking what it is that they are giving you and being okay with it, being okay with the circumstances of which you are living. And if you're not okay with the circumstances, how can you change? How can you move in a different way and ultimately heal? But the lesson, like I was saying, their comfort is all paths lead home. Even when things can be very traumatic for us, unsettling, and when we lose this specific loved one, they're still here, and they're still trying to help you take control of your life and notice when, things are not all as they seem. If you haven't connected with the moon, I encourage you to look towards purge and releases, because I find, I was being very regular about doing my moon work, and all last month I kind of like had to take a step out of it. And oh my goodness, I just noticed how my light is making the moon look like a sun. Okay. It says the moon, but it looks like the sun. And you can't see when the sun is gone and night has come. You can't see that there are tears coming out of this moon. But here's another image of the sun. Like, how do you feel on the outside? Are you externalizing the internalized? I don't know why I said it like that. But what are you internalizing right now that needs a lot of healing? And really work on that. And this person may not have had the opportunity to really sit down for like family therapy or counseling therapy, or because they weren't able to show that part of themselves, because if you were to be weak in some sort of situation, they were a self-healer and they constantly helped heal others, and you're a self-healer and you constantly help others. So there's this pattern that seems to be passed down, and they're kind of like wanting you to see how this is going to really help you with your journey. But let me go ahead and go get your Scrabble and Charms on the board, if you will. All right, so here's your Scrabble and your charms that are up here. And now you are more than welcome to take all of these letters that you see here and see if you can come up with a specific message that is meant for you that you may know, or if there is a specific name or a family tree. Because in my first video, I talked about a treasure map. I don't know how many times, and I couldn't figure out why I was talking about a treasure map. And then whenever I was going back over my notes for your pile, I talked about a map in the Scrabble tiles. So this could be another family member that is also trying to connect with you. So if you felt called to pile 1 or did not connect with pile 1, now's your time to go back and connect with it, because there's something here that they're wanting you to dig up, especially if you didn't do a whole lot of research on your father's side, because the first pile talked about father energy, father side, father ancestry, and in this pile we're talking about mother energy. So go ahead and do some information, really look at what it is that you need to be doing. But there's a map here, there's something that you need to dig up, and the universe is trying to let you notice that right now, especially with the lesson that they're trying to share, all paths lead home. So if your map, and I said this in the other one, doesn't have those lines that connect you from point A to point Z, it doesn't matter what direction you take as long as you continue to move forward, where you are trusting where it is that your true north is taking you. Because this makes me think of a compass, but each direction is north. You know where you need to be going. And there's a space here for you to decide this moment of opportunity, or if you have not been filling this space in your life, now is the time to do so. And when you decide what it is that you need to work on, then you will know where your true north is, and it's going to guide you. It's going to be your compass. And with the moon emphasizing the illusions that are at play and your emotions are heightened, then it's like, I don't know what is right for me. I don't know what I need to be doing. And I'm trying to connect with this person because it felt like they knew where they were going. But in reality, it's like, it's not that they knew where they were going. It's that they knew what they wanted to do. They are always looking for their place in life and where they needed to do the most healing, where they needed to do the most work, where they needed to do the most defending. Because when one part of their life was kind of like crumbling, they knew that they needed to spend the time and focus on that and not entertain other things that would just cause this to get out of control. So whatever in your life feels like it's out of control, let's think about the methodical steps that we need to build, and then we will know, where is it our compass is pointing to us. But let me go ahead and talk about your charms. So this is a yin choker. So divine feminine energy may have been cut off, and they're wanting you to tap into that part of yourself, the subconscious, the dreaming, the creating, the nurturing, the empathizing, the being a mother and a healer of your own journey, your own life, and being loyal. Be loyal to yourself. Be loyal to your dreams and your causes. Be loyal. And the side note that I do want to share, because this pupper did come out. So dogs are very loyal. Dogs, animals, support animals, especially for those that may have PTSD. If you were trying to channel a fur pet or something that made you, stay calm, and they're no longer here, they are coming through and letting you know that they are still guiding and watching over you. I just thought of a wet nose touching my ankle. But, this may have been someone that worked through. So back to that drill sergeant feeling, and those that may have been in the service and, needing some form of support. And they may want you to find your own thing to nurture and take care of as well. If you're not someone that has ever been, that has had a fur friend, maybe now's a good time to think about how you can use them. And, maybe their noses will help guide you in the right direction in which you need to go, having a sense of purpose in your life. And this is an owl, and I love owls. And they're wanting you to trust your wisdom, trust what it is that you know, and to research the things that you don't know. But your intuition is going to really play key here for them. And this is probably one of the bigger owls that I have in my charm collection. So big emphasis, trust your intuition, and maybe they loved owls, and you know, in my wild and unknown tarot deck of animals, you know, an owl can symbolize something that is bringing you a gift, something that is small and precious, or even, you know, wisdom even can be a gift, if you will. This is a blue, along with this blue bead here, a need to communicate, a need to, whatever is going on up in your mind, in your heart, in your soul, communicate your needs, especially if you haven't been able to speak up about things. And this is sometimes this reminds me of the Ouroboros snake, where, you know, constant ending and beginnings and birth and renewal. But this is like when you notice that your communication is broke, finding ways to connect back to it. And I love the beads that shine in this, because this person was that kind of person. There was like no disconnect whatsoever. It was, they said what it is that they meant to say, and they meant it. This is a hook, and with the yin choker, things that are taking control of your life or preventing you from, you know, doing self-care rituals that you need to do. But this also can talk about Peter Pan syndrome, you know, being forced to grow up too early, or being an adult, because this person feels like as if they had to be an adult at an early age, and they didn't get to experience that, you know, that inner child wonderment, but they tried to provide that for you, and it may have been really hard for them, just based off some of the energy that I'm feeling right here. But they want you to look and see if there's something that has an anchor or a hook in your life that you need to release and let go, that is, you know, preventing you from taking care of yourself. And this is a pizza, and I do have a box somewhere in my other charm basket, but you actually got the pizza that is on the inside. So this is, you are allowed to have your slice. You are allowed to decide what toppings you want, what kind of, what's the word I'm thinking of, but it's like, and I'm just hearing you need to eat more. But you are allowed to consume what it is that you want to consume, is what I'm getting at. And what you feed your mind is ultimately going to tell you what the quality of your mind is. So what do you want to order, and what do you want to answer? You know, what are you ordering right now and you want to see at your door? Because if it's not, like, if you don't like pepperonis on your pizza and somebody gives you a pepperoni pizza, get your pepperoni pizza and send back what is it meant for you. I watched a reel 2 weeks ago, and I wish I saved it because it was very influential. If you just accept what is in front of you without doing anything about it, then that is what you will always have. But if there's something you really want in the universe, don't settle for less. You are royalty in this case. Start acting like royalty if you need to, especially if people are treating you like some farmer or some commoner, if you will. And they themselves were the commoners. They were the ones that you know, didn't do all this hard work. So what do you want from the universe? Don't settle for less. You are royalty. That is the big thing. But really dive down into what it is that you need to dig up, what you need to release, what you need to let go. So that way you can fill your heart space with the things that you do need and guide you where your compass is taking you. And it's okay to find friends and furry companions to go along with you. There's nothing wrong with that. And, you know, there's a gift here. There's, whether it be wisdom or an actual physical gift or within your subconscious, there's a gift waiting for you, and they're wanting you to tap into it. Now, that is your reading, my dear pile 2. Now, you are more than welcome to dive into another reading, especially if you want to head on over, especially to pile 1. But I really hope I was able to channel a message or sense of comfort from this person and really tap into their energy and do justice, if you will. But I'm going to go ahead and head on over to the other pile. If you enjoyed this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know how it resonates. Hello, pile 2. Welcome. Let's go ahead and dive into your departed loved one's messages. And we're going to go ahead and start off with selenite. And I actually have a selenite tower right over here. So selenite, luminous, cleansing, protection. With its moonlight glow, selenite illuminates your spiritual truth and greater purpose. It aligns your chakras and raises your awareness to higher dimensions, opening communication to your spiritual team. It brings clarity to the mind and slices through any negativity or confusion, cleansing your energy field and protecting your aura. Selenite brings awareness to your subconscious patterns, highlighting what is ready to be healed. It activates the crown chakra and provides a doorway to personal transformation. Cleanse your way to clarity. We have Moon in Taurus. So this person, individual, and in my last reading, maybe even a fur companion. It doesn't necessarily mean it is a fur companion, because it would be kind of odd if I go with the rest of this energy and you're like, I never thought my dog was like this, or my goldfish. This person is currently sitting at the table on your spiritual team to help assist you with your life's purpose. And because I do have Taurus here, this person, when it is time for your table to kind of move and situate itself. So think of Alice in Wonderland when the Mad Hatter is like, change places, and then the Mad Hatter doesn't move. That is this person. They're here to stick for the long run. They're not going to go anywhere. And whenever I was talking in the intro about someone that was going to be very stubborn and have their say in things and not let anybody else really come into the room, it's like they have to be first one to say what they need to say, and everybody else can wait, even if the other people have been waiting longer. This person is here to stay and stick around, and they're trying to help you clear your mind. And that is the big key with this energy behind the selenite, is they're trying to help you clear and put more focus where it is that you're meant to be putting your focus in. If you're scatterbrained, if you're all over the place, or, like when you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to focus on this. And it's like someone grabs you by the back of your hood and drags you and puts you in another spot. And you're like, well, I wanted to do this, but it's like, no, focus on this. I need you to look at this right here. This is that person that is coming through, and you're going to be feeling like repetitive thoughts, repetitive patterns. That's one way that they're going to speak and communicate with you. And whenever I was talking in the intro and how like you connect with individuals, like doing or saying something that they would do, and it's like it catches you off guard. It's like one thing that, oh goodness, I'm trying to think of, a common saying that you would say is, oh God, I'm hearing dad jokes. I'm hearing a lot of different things, but this person has a lot to say. This person has a lot to communicate with you. And it's like, it's like they can't not say something. It's like, or like a helicopter parent, they're constantly hovering over you, and maybe you're just very prone to little slip ups here and there, or it's like you don't notice, like you're focused on the scenery if you're walking out and you're in nature, and you don't notice you're walking off a hill. So this person has felt like they've needed to constantly protect you, be over your shoulder, and kind of like guide you. They are that kind of person. They're that good, like Jiminy Cricket, if you will. They're your consciousness. They're like, say, what would this person say? What would this person do? How would they act in this situation? And if you have found that with this person being gone, it's been really hard to take control or go through your own personal transformation, if you will. But this energy, especially with Taurus being in the moon, very stubborn, very, very keen to their emotions and their senses. So they're trying to help you kind of be that conductor where like they're sending you a signal, and it may take a while for that signal to come through, and that may be why they feel like there's a need to be at your table with you. But they are using as much signal, and it could even be that I just seen this, and I may have offended somebody saying it's like, it's not that we don't want to take our turn. It's just this person has a way of communicating things in a better way that is more effective, that you would understand. And this person is basically taking your descendants or not descendants. Why did I say descendants? Oh my goodness. They're not taking your future descendants and holding them hostage, guys. But it's like, they see the path in which you are going, and your ancestors see the path in which you are going. And because this is a source of connection that you've had with them, they know that, you know, all of these others before them have their best interests. They have your best interests at heart. And it's just like, in a way, they wish they could be at the table, but they also know that this person is going to be able to get through to you. But you know, they light up your light. They are very luminous, and you know, they were able to take a lot of any kind of confusion that you had in your life and really show, you know, not all things are as they appear to be. And when you get down to, you know, the bottom of things, then you'll discover like, oh wow, why did I even make a big deal about this and you know, to begin with. But they're trying to really, you know, help you see your truth and your greater purpose in life. And I love that for them. But let me go ahead and do a little bit more further energy check with them. So we have Jupiter growing and expanding. And I'll kind of like shift these off over here to the side. We have Jupiter in Aquarius, originality, philanthropy, and progressive imaginings in the 8th house, transformation, karma, facing fears, and legacies. So once again, big protector. This person so speaking of crickets, you know, in the Disney cartoon movie Mulan, not the live action one, where the granny has the lucky cricket and she's trying to determine if it is lucky, and so she closes her eyes, she has the lucky cricket in her arms, and she starts moving across oncoming traffic, and then and everybody's panicking. The road is like, everyone is trying to not hit this old woman, and she makes it to the other side, and her family is like, oh my God, what is going on? And she opens her eyes and she says, yep, it's a lucky one. And that is what they are for you. You know, they are that cricket, but they're also this determined grandma, that sense of energy where she's like bound with her superstition, bound with her ability to, you know, trust in the divine. And that's kind of like what she's hoping you will do. Like, trust when she is trying to give you a message, or he even. I know I keep emphasizing she. I'm getting a very strong grandma energy right now, but it doesn't necessarily mean this could be a grandmother, but it's the energy I want you to be able to pick up and discern. Does this sound like who it is I'm trying to connect with? Or does this sound like someone else? Or is this someone that I haven't even met before in my life? But so, profound transformations. This person could have been very lucky financially through unconventional methods. It wasn't just like, you know, they did a normal job, went to school, and then, you know, had a lot of money. It was just, they were lucky no matter what they were doing. They just happened to strike oil. They were the type of person, maybe if they went to the like a casino or bingo night or wherever you could be like drawing a lottery raffle, and it's just like, oh my God, you just won, and it's unexplainable. They were just very lucky. They could have been very curious, especially with house 8 here, of, you know, the occult or scientific mysteries. So they love a good secret. So if you had a secret, they would love for you to have shared it with them. And, they had a lot of hidden knowledge. They loved a good treasure hunt. And that has been the biggest emphasis in the last two piles, was this big treasure hunt. And I don't know who I am channeling this for, or if I'm having this person who won't leave my other piles and is still in my energy check right now. And it's like, look at the treasure map. Look what it is that you need to dig up, because there's something here for you that can make you, that could really benefit you. And spiritual growth was very important, and life felt intense for them. They felt everything. And this could have even been someone who was a teacher who confronted their fears. They may have really loved things like psychology, astrology, and they weren't the type of person that would keep everything to themselves. They shared their wealth and resources, and they weren't greedy. This was not a greedy person. And this was like, if all they had in their house was, it's making me think of, I don't know if y'all watched Mickey Mouse with, it was like Fairy Tale Mickey Mouse, where they went into Jack and the Beanstalk, and it was like Donald, Goofy, and Mickey were sitting in the house, and the only thing they had to eat was this tiny little bean, and they were cutting it into thin slices, and even though that was all they had, they shared it. And that was this kind of person. They developed strong emotional bonds with people. And, when someone upset them, they felt it to their core. Or when someone was crying, they were crying with them. It was like they were there, and they wanted you to know that they were always going to be there. And that is why they are continuously sitting at your table. They may have hid their personal struggles and, experienced emotional crises a little bit differently. They may have been very analytical rather than experienced. So they experienced emotional crises differently through people, not individually with themselves. Like if someone was going through a severe, breakup, if you will, that's what I'm getting through. Like if you had a breakup of some kind, and they may have gone through their own breakup, but they don't deal with that emotional response normally, like this person would have. Like this person had to go through all the emotional toils, whereas this person was like analyzing everything rather than actually feeling them. And back to that kind of like psychological thing where like, and even astrology, it's like understanding the stars, understanding the spiritual, realm, and seeing how there's a bigger scheme to things, if you will. But this person may have the ability to be able to like manage assets, or they have inheritances that they may have received, or even land is what I'm thinking of. Like when you have land and it gets passed down, they care a lot about keeping something within the family. This was a very innovative person, and they didn't like being just, they had a container, but they didn't like their container being put in someone else's mold. So they didn't want to be stuck in a box. They wanted to be able to transform and expand in their life. They wanted to be able to grow. And if someone, like say, this could have even been a rebel in your family, like unconventional methods, if you will. They go against the grain. They're cut from a different cloth, and they don't do things like everybody else. They have their own crazy methods, how they do things. They, thinking of a recipe, everyone has a specific recipe for, types of foods, and they didn't follow that recipe. They made their own. But this person, Yes, they are mysterious, but they were an open book. They could talk literally about anything and everything, and just by being with them, you were able to, like, your mind was expanded, and they were able to. This makes me think of a storyteller, someone who could tell stories. Because I was thinking of fairy tales. I was thinking of lessons being shared around a fire, things that were passed down in your life, but you know those stories they tell you of, when you go into the woods, don't go into the woods alone, or the big bad wolf will get you. There is something that they're trying to share, and they're sharing all of the lessons that have been presented to them from the people that are waiting in line. I will say, it's like, as they were making their way to the table, they were like, you got anything you want to say? You got anything you want to say? You got it. It's kind of like that. They were taking notes, so that way they didn't feel as much disruption, but they were that central point in your life. It makes me think of a chief or someone that you looked up to, that you respected. Small talk is probably not something you would do with this person. This is not someone you say, oh, look at the weather, what do you think about the weather? That's not what they cared about. They were like, well, what makes the weather the way the weather is? Or like, they cared about the reasons behind the reasons, like big thinking. This is my philosophical thinker. This is my humanitarian who wanted to, put a legacy down and give someone the how to change your life in the best way possible. And they have the book and they're trying to pass that down to you, is what I'm feeling from this. But before I go off into another tangent and get struck with something else in my mind, because this person can probably talk to me all day, and I can see myself not finishing a pile, if you will. But what do they want you to know? So we have Merlina. You are confused and indecisive because you do not have enough information. Do research or seek expert advice before making a decision. If you are someone that normally can, like, if something is presented in front of you and you can effectively leap ahead, but now you're at a point in your life where it's really hard for you to decide what you want to do. But if you are given a deadline to complete something or answer to something, like, okay, yes, let's go ahead with this project, or yes, let's do this move, this change in career even, they want you to do more research up until that deadline. Actually look to see how others have done whatever it is that you were working on or thinking about doing. Ask from those professionals. If someone is giving you advice and they've never done it before, you need to toss that aside and actually work alongside those. But second opinions, I'm hearing, get a second opinion about something, and only then can you move forward. And talking about this, okay, so I see these dolphins, and dolphins are very playful, they're very magnetic, and they just happen to, they make you feel good and positive about the things in your life. So they're wanting you to find the one thing that does make you feel good and positive and brings the most balance in your life, that helps you with this transformation. And in this image, and I normally don't get Merlina, and she is opening her arms up to the universe, seeking guidance. And they're acting as this beam in order to assist you during this time. And if this person has recently passed, but I'm not getting that. I really don't feel like this is someone that has recently passed, because I'm seeing these bones, and it takes time for our bodies to, alchemize to the earth and transform, if you will, into the next thing. And I'm seeing this as someone that has had influence in your life, but they're wanting you to open yourself up and be able to face what it is that you need to do. If you are scared of the information, you are fine to not be scared, but to learn from it. The lesson that they want you to know, and we have, you're not alone, isolation, physical connection, community. You're not alone. And if you felt like you were alone in something, and that may have been something that they struggled with in their life, is feeling like they are alone. And that's why they develop deep emotional and deep, strong bonds with people, is because somewhere in their life, there was this space that needed to be filled. And they found that the more that they grew, the more that they expanded, the more that they had to fill in those gaps, if you will. And they're wanting you to kind of like walk in the steps that they may have had, just to see and experience in, and to, if you're not fitting in some mold, you can step out of that box and create something totally new for you. You don't need to do what everyone else does. And that could be what it is like there's this line of ancestors that have done the exact same thing over and over and over in their life. And the reason they're at the table is because they did something different. I don't know what it is that they've done different, but it's something far more different than what those have done before them. And it's because they have already tried what everyone has done before them, and they realize now they need to do something about this. But research is important. But you're not alone, so let me go ahead and read from the book. The older the soul, the deeper the cave. Many starseeds and old souls enjoy their own company. Spending time alone can be comforting and necessary for their vitality, as it allows them to commune with their soul and fill up their energetic resources, especially if they have an underactive or open root chakra or finding it hard being human. Many starseeds find it more nourishing to retreat than to spend their time in meaningless conversation and relationships. And I just talked about Aquarius and small talk. They didn't like meaningless conversations. However, we must remember that we're not here to go about this life alone. Humans are pack animals, and we all need the love, company, and support of others, both emotionally and physically. In our increasingly online world, we can be connected to more people and yet feel more alone and isolated than ever. There's still so much we don't know about the energetic side effects of things like social media, with so many people knowing our news. What is it doing to our auric field? Commonly, we find ourselves in constant conversation, yet lacking the genuine connection of physical community and touch. The main message of this card is to step out of your cave and physically reach out to those in your life, to replenish when you need to, but not isolate yourself. This could be seeing friends and family who live nearby, or having a regular catch-up walk with someone. In what ways can you open yourself up to the people who are physically in your life? Those you truly know. So the lesson that they're really wanting you to kind of take is, how can you reach out to people in your life physically? And that is something they may have done in their life. They had a way of reaching out and connecting, transforming fears, facing karma, and not doing it alone. They didn't do this alone, guys. And if you're trying to do this alone, that is where you are finding the most limiting information. So reach out to those that you need to. Their source of comfort. We have the Page of Wands. Let me go ahead and flip my page over so I don't forget my notes. So even when you are not out on your own, they are assisting you by helping you find ways to play more and find pleasure in your everyday life. Life can be more exciting when we embrace our inner child and, pull your sleeves up and learn something new. Now, the first pile talked about being a student, being patient, And this card makes me think of that. It makes me think of, being able to be patient and find the information before making a decision. But if you're missing something in your life, inner child work would be really good here. And that first card had the Emperor, and it had mountains in the background, and it did have a sun too. So if you felt called to pile 1, and I said this to pile 2, I said if you felt called to pile 1 from pile 2, it's something about pile 1 is connecting these piles together, and it is worth investigating. But don't be afraid to be bad at something. Be that student. When you're learning something new, it's not like you need to be the teacher and be the best at what it is that you know and you've spent years doing. Be the student. Practice and practice and practice and practice, and channel your unfocused energy into practical tasks or tangible projects before losing your train of thought. So the way that they're trying to comfort you is reminding you of what it was like when they were with you when you were younger, and what it was like to have dreams and goals, to take this wand, if you will, because this page has been given this wand, and now they are looking at all the areas of their life in which they are spending their time and energy in. And that is what they're trying to do, is they're trying to allow you to put more emphasis and focus on the things that need to be healed, that are ready to be healed, things that need to be activated, things that need to be cleansed. But, and I'm hearing, please write down what you're thinking about doing so you don't lose your mind. Don't lose your thoughts. If you have a good idea or something that you want to research, write it down and then research it even. But I'm going to go ahead and get your charms and Scrabble on the board. All right, here's your charms and your Scrabble. Now, you are more than welcome to take any of these letters and spell out a different word, or even words or anything that is very significant and important to you. This is just something that I have put down. Now, I've wrote down some other things, I wrote down MRT, but when I was hearing it, it was like mystery, mystery, mystery. And I think it's either pile 2 or pile 1 that had mystique was no, it's the first one. So pile 1. So I think that's another confirmation here that pile 1 may be a good thing to kind of investigate and look into. You may, or other groups, so other group piles that are in this reading alone. But mysteries, they loved secrets, they loved anything that they didn't know. They loved expanding their mind and progressing things forward. They cared about groups, they cared about humanity, they cared about the collective. And mourning could be a very significant time for, in my other readings, there was like a specific time or a specific place in which you would be able to connect with this person. You could connect with them mostly probably in the morning, or when things in your life are kind of tilting or they're off balance. This is the best way to connect with them, because they would have a way of being able to right side you back up. But I also heard lung song trip. I even spelled out prom girl, and then I heard TNT, I'm dynamite. But this is the main thing that I got from it. I could see this person, starting their morning off with a good song, or, those morning walks where you would take them in a group or you're with people. You're not alone. So not isolating yourself. So there's a big emphasis on not isolating yourself and being a part of a community. Tilting makes me think of something that needs to shift in your life. But let me kind of talk about your charms now. Now, this person was a superhero in your life, and they even looked up to you as well. I will say that. Like, you were the reason that they wanted to stand up for a cause or stand up for any kind of injustice maybe in their life. But they want you to see that the cape doesn't need to stay with them. This cape can be passed down to you. And that was something that was very strongly emphasized here. And this is a Bluetooth. So I want you to, and I've tried my hardest to figure out what I wanted this symbol to be, since it broke off one of my husband's pieces that he had in the living room. And so Bluetooth, it makes me think of that connection. You know how your phone can sync up to anything. You can listen to music in your car and not have to listen to the radio. You can sync it to your TV, but this is the kind of connection that they have to you. When you want to connect with them, you can connect with them. And that's the biggest key here for you. This ring over here makes me think of Wonder Woman. And so the tiara, or the strength that this person had, and even if they were feminine, they could take on a masculine role if they needed to. Reverse roles. And the reason I say that is because I have this seahorse here, and seahorses, the males carry the offspring. So they have that reverse role in the animal kingdom. They're very loyal, and this person was very loyal. And, you know, they're this precious gift that you have in your life that is constantly here to help support you and nurture you and provide that physical comfort. Even if you can't feel them, they are in some shape or form still around you, whether that be a blanket or a cape they may have made, or my grandma used to make my brother's capes when we were growing up. And so my brothers actually got to be superheroes. And I remember being so jealous of their capes and when they would run around the yard. But this person, not only were they nurturing, they were showing you how to be your own hero. And they had a lot of respect in the community. They had a lot of respect from you, and they gave respect to those. And then I have this earring, this black earring. It makes me think of healthy masculine energy is what it makes me think of. And finding that balance in your life. This green little dude right here, little voodoo doll, is their way of saying, like, your heart and your compassion and the ways in which that you heal need to matter. And there is a need to really put emphasis on your chakra system. And if you have not grounded yourself, and you're operating with a when your root chakra is open, and all of this energy is just spilling out of you, and there's like no sense of control here, they're wanting you to look at those systems in which you can understand them, take action when you need to communicate, to trust your intuition and your heart space, your heart chakra, and how your heart chakra can really help you feel and connect with those that are around you. And then I just piled these on top of each other, but really write down what it is that you're thinking about, ways that you can journal. This monocle is like, I know it's a monocle, but it actually goes to my grandfather's watch in this pile. And, seeing things clearly from a different perspective, or even trying to see things from their eyes, the way that they see you with, so much love and respect and adoration, and how you really helped, fill in the gaps in their life that felt empty. But they want you to really write down what it is that you want to do. Communicate what it is. And you can even, through scrying is what I'm hearing. What is that? It's a form of writing where you're channeling from another and you write it down. I'm sorry, it's leaving my mind. But You know, you have the feather, um, things are lifting off for you in the right direction. And, you know, feathers may be very significant for you. And that may be another way in which, you know, when you're going on your morning walk and if you see a feather, you know, that's, you know, there's your, and it's an indicative sign that they're trying to communicate with you. Or if you notice, like when you're thinking of journals or if you're picking up a pen and you're playing with a pen, that is just another way. But this person here is wanting you to, you know, when you are confused and indecisive, you know, you're not alone. Even when you think you have everything figured out, sometimes life feels tilted for you. But that is your reading, my dear Pile 3. I am so appreciative of you for being here today. And, you know, if you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe. That way you can see more content like this. And if you want to jump into another pile, especially if you feel called to pile 1, pile 1 has been very popular on the radar for me, at least. But I'm going to go ahead and dive into the other pile. But thank you so much for being here today. Hello, pile 4, and welcome. Let's go ahead and look at the crystal energy here that's going to be kind of like influencing this reading. So we have this Ethiopian opal, and it is probably one of my favorite crystal cards because of how pretty it is and all the different colors. But so rebirth, portal, desire. Reflecting the beautiful parts of your soul, Ethiopian opal is a crystal filled with bright flashes of color and revitalizing energy. Full of joy, Ethiopian opal is a high vibrational stone, able to soothe the soul and bring harmony to mind, body, and spirit. Ethiopian opal can burn unhealed karma from the past and clear the path for a rebirth. Like a phoenix rising out of the ashes, containing a soul holograph, Ethiopian opal gives access to different timelines in your life, from the past, present, and future. Give all parts of yourself the love that you desire, with Mercury being in Virgo and Sagittarius. If you will let me clear my throat. So, they may not be here with you, but, you know, they plan on reviving by living through you, if you will. This makes me think of, you know, if you've ever been given the comment of, you know, you look just like so-and-so, I see so-and-so in you, or you know, that's the kind of path that they took, you know, when they were in that stage of their life. But this person sees you as like, you know, you are a version of themselves. It's like, and I remember, so last week I was watching so I was watching something, but I was watching something based off a card that I had gotten, and it was researching like the kings or a king energy with my archetype card, and looking at different versions of leadership. And one of the ones was like the Dalai Lama, which made me spiral down to what the Dalai Lama was. And you know, one thing that the Dalai Lama, the recent one, said is like, if they reincarnate, they plan to reincarnate as a woman rather than a man, and it can either be a child or an adult. And I thought that was very interesting to kind of think about. And this person may have felt that kind of way with you, like reincarnation, like it's like you are the living reincarnation of them, if you will. And, you know, and they're trying to find ways to communicate and, you know, help organize the details in your life so that way, you know, you feel more positive, you feel, you know, more energetic, and see how, you know, your life is just like one big moving prayer, if you will. And I did say that in one of my other readings in this, you know, departed loved one message piles. But this person, high vibration, and they had a way of helping heal people or helping people find harmony in their life. And, you know, they were ahead of everyone else, clearing the path, making sure it was smooth. That way, if there was an obstacle, that obstacle was put there in place for a reason, for a lesson, because it was important for them to go through that. So it's like, deja vu when you're walking into a room and it's like, I've been here before. Why have I been here before? And that was the same for them as well. They had a lot of those instances in their life. And if you did feel called to pile 2, I will say that this is probably, I've been emphasizing pile 1, but this pile, if you felt called to pile 2, then this is like that person. And I said this in the last one because they had selenite, like they are at the table. This person is at the table, but this person is at the table because, they have been reincarnating quite often because they feel it is important for their line, because anytime there was an instance of disruption or disharmony, or they seen that their bloodline was struggling unnecessarily, so then they would jump in and try to heal what needs to be healed and put them back on the right path, put them in the most positive direction, their own true north, if you will. And that is what I'm getting from this, is like portals jumping to the next portal, and it makes me think of like an elevator, if you will. Like I'm seeing them kind of like pass through. And I hope that's reassuring, because they are with you, but it's like they're experiencing life with you as an extension of who they were already. But that is the energy check that I'm getting from the vibe ultimately. But let me go ahead and do the astro energy check for this person specifically. So let me kind of move this out of the way. So I have Jupiter, grow and expand, and my last pile had Jupiter as well. Then I have Jupiter in Libra, consideration, fairness, and harmony. So that emphasis on balance was very important to them. And when they sense the most imbalances in the collective within their family, that is when it would activate something within them. In House 10, structure, discipline, life mission, accomplishments, and career. This person was very diplomatic and very fair. They may have had a lot of public recognition in their life, in their career, or just they were at the head of the table, always. And anytime a decision needed to be made for the pact, if you will, then they would weigh the pros and cons. They would take both sides of information that is given and weigh it. And they were able to see when something was untruthful, when something was a lie. They were able to pick up on that. They cared a lot about justice. They were known for their integrity. They were very wise. Their partnerships were very high level. There was a reason for each relationship that they've had in their life, or when something was being extended in their life, there was always a reason for it. And that was because they could feel when things felt off balance, and they trusted that sense of feeling within their own body. Like I said, their image was very important. So if they had a family event, or if in their career they had to be in front of a crowd or a group, how they presented themselves and how their family presented themselves was important. They didn't want their house, if you will, to be tarnished. And if someone were to come into their house and sully it, or try to wreck it or break it apart, that's when they would, oh my gosh, there's the owl. Okay, group 2 had a owl, and I really hope group 2 makes it to this pile. I hope it was group 2. I do believe. I could be, if I'm wrong. I'm tired, everyone. But I just noticed this owl, and I just realized, oh, this is that gift they were talking about. Oh my goodness. So the gift is the way that they're going to help you find discipline and, feel accomplished for things in your life. But this person led with balance, with good judgment. You know, they were able to expand and found luck wherever they went because of their integrity. And when they chose truth, when they put good karma in the universe, if you will, that is how they found the most luck in their life, because they understood, you know, giving and receiving. They understood, you know, when you don't have anything and you reach out and look for help, you know, the universe will help you receive that. And when you know someone is struggling, that they were that person that would assist those that were in need if they needed it. This person was a mentor. They could have been a professor or an advisor of some sort, but they were very accomplished in the things that they knew. It's like they've walked all sorts of lives. So there's that reincarnation that I keep talking about, that portal where they step in, and it's like it may seem like they're not here, but they are here. They're very much here in how they've helped you grow and shape your world. This person could have been very overambitious and may have neglected their personal life or health. Like on the outside, the way they presented themselves was one thing, but behind, things may have been really hard for them because with Libra energy, it's like the drama aspect. It's like, I want everyone to get along. I want everyone to, you know, be able to communicate what they need to communicate and find common ground. And that may have been really hard for them. The last thing they wanted to do was to choose a side and feel bad when they've had to make tough decisions in their life. This person may have struggled with people pleasing. Those accomplishments and you know, how they structured their life was out of a need for recognition. They wanted to be recognized for the things that they've done in their life. And if this is an older ancestor, there may be a need to kind of like look at what previous ancestors have done before you. What are their accomplishments? And like, you know, finding ways to honor that. Their struggles, like seeing how like those struggles are the reason why you may be able to do some things that you're doing today, if you will. Like my grandparents' struggles are the reason why I am able to, you know, have a sense of freedom in my spirituality, if you will. Be able to communicate and do the things that I do. But this person loved to grow and expand. They cared deeply about, you know, feeling that state of balance always. But let's dive into what they want you to know. And we've got two things here. The first one is Oceana. Take action. You are in touch with your truth in this situation, and you need to trust your gut and lovingly assert yourself. Trust your gut. Now, normally, this kind of energy is the kind where you've already done the research, you have all the facts laid out in front of you. And in this case, they're saying you can trust your senses here on something, and you can, oh, we have another schooling. Oh my goodness. So school has been, and information gathering has been one of the key things that has been repetitive throughout this entire session I'm doing. But over here we have Maya, or Maya, if you will. Schooling, study, and education help your life's purpose and personal growth at this time. The angels will guide you and help you with this process. So take action on the things that you want to do in order to grow and expand your mind. You know, things that are going to help you find structure and give you that sense of purpose. If you haven't found it yet, then look to where it is your soul is calling you to. But that is what they're trying, what they want you to know is the more you further your mind, and I'm hearing lawyers. So if you're going to school for law, or if you find that you are in a position where you're having to be in front of a group or a collective of some sort, Educate yourself, expand your mind, trust your gut, but lovingly assert yourself to not sit on the sidelines. They don't want you to sit on the side and wait for something to happen. They want you to be involved in the decision making, Don't let others choose. Because when our right to choose is taken from us, that is when this energy comes to play. Research. That is what I'm hearing right now. I'm hearing it's been emphasized, and now I'm picking up. there is a gift within the wisdom that you're going to learn here. I am feeling that. But the lesson that they wish to share with you, we have lost lands, soul memories, and gifts. You've done this before. I just got chills all over my arms, guys. You've done this before. They've done this before. And they understand the importance of when you're making a major decision of any kind. Research, expand your mind, research, personal growth. That's how you are going to be very successful here. But let's go ahead and read from Lost Lands. The world is more ancient than our documented history suggests. As souls, many of us have experienced ancient eras on this planet that we were much more advanced than ours today. As we begin to remember these times, the rememberings and the gifts can come flooding back. At this stage in Earth's timeline, we need the wisdom of the ancients to survive as a species. You're being called to connect with the lost wisdom of your own soul. If you feel guided to make a change in your life, to step into a new career path, birth a creation, or bring an idea to life, but feel unprepared, this card is calling you to consider that you've done this before. Perhaps your soul has wisdom beyond what your lifespan can imagine. Perhaps the intuitive hits and ideas you're receiving are divinely guided. Perhaps you've been preparing for this time. Some think that lost lands exist in the past. Others believe they exist today in a different dimension. I believe these ancient lands also exist in the souls of those who experienced them. If this card comes to you, perhaps the wisdom of lost lands such as Lemuria, Atlantis, and Avalon exist within you. And through surrendering to the intelligence of your soul, you can unlock the seeds of these ancient lands so we can all learn from our mistakes and usher in a new age. And one of the things this card says is I unlock any forgotten wisdom and soul gifts from lifetimes past. I just got some more chills. If you had been with me with my other pile when the owl introduced itself, I did not know what the gift would be. But the gift here is you've already done this. You already know what you need to do, guys. This person, this departed loved one, knows this about you already too. And they're with you, guiding you and helping you find all the information you need in order to make a decision. Now, their message of comfort. We have the Seven of Wands, and let me see if I can emphasize the image of this card. They're helping you grow a backbone and helping you stand up for yourself when you are right and need to be firm in your beliefs. This person is scaring away imbalances in your life. They're scaring away any energy that is trying to make you unprepared here. And that is why in normal Rider-Waite tarot images, you'll see a different shoe, almost like this person was caught off guard. But I'm seeing this hero blanket behind you. And it's like you've already done this before. You've already done this walk before. You're prepared. And you have the higher ground here and are able to defend yourself against any kind of negative energy here. There's a lot that you can reflect on with this person. They have a lot that they love to share with you. The number 7 talks about knowledge. And when you are at a place in your life, and the one way in which they are trying to help comfort you is by, doing an assessment. How are you now? How do you feel about your living situation? How do you feel about your career situation or your relationship even? But this person is like constantly trying to scare negative influences away from you. Just because I have these horns right here. And whereas in their waking life, they may have been people pleasing, in their spiritual life, they don't put up with crap. They will do whatever is necessary to ensure that the collective and those before you and before them, and the soul mission that they have when they manifested on this planet, doesn't bring about destruction. Oh my goodness, my throat is closing up on me. But they're not going to let lesser energies around you. You may feel as if you are competing against others, and they don't want you to back down. They want you to take what is rightfully yours and not let someone... Oh, okay. Back to this gut. Trusting your gut. Trusting your gut about a situation, especially if you've been very prepared for it. Prepared for this exam, if you will. This spiritual exam, or this spiritual... It's like passing the torch, if you will. You're picking up the fight that they left, that they had to put down. You were picking up the fight where they left off, and helping continue on, this legacy that they're trying to build. Finding that discipline and structure in your life. And you're not letting those who don't have discipline, affect you. And that is where, they are your spiritual life coach right now. But let me go ahead and get your charms and your Scrabble out on the board, if you will. All right, here's your letters and your charms. Now, you are more than welcome to take any of these letters to make your own words, your own sentences, or even initials, if you will, or names. But this is what I picked up on. I bear, and at first this is going to be, I bear a universal seed, but for some reason I spelled it out like that. I bear you a seed. So there's something here that is being planted, that is growing, that requires a lot of information in order for it to be able to foster a healthy bud, if you will, because, we start from a seed to a sprout to, and then so on and so forth. But there's a universal seed here. We're trying to set the right environment for something to grow. And, what started the seed before the tree, before the seed, before the tree, the chicken and the egg, if you will. This is one of those things back to the, rebirth, portal, finding the things that we desire, that we want to, accomplish in our life. And the things that we want to fight for, the things that we don't want to be unprepared for. This is, so the right to bear arms is what I just heard in my head. But what are you willing to defend? What are you willing to fight for? What seed are you protecting that you want to see grow? And then up over here, I have 2 more owls. I have an owl here, and I have 2 more owls here, where you are needing to touch or trust your intuition. Trust the wisdom that is being shared for you. This is a much more majestic owl than the last owl that I had seen, if I can speak sheen. But family tree is very important to them, and this makes me think of how often that they've had to really trust wherever their heart takes them, because this makes me think of green chakra, or the heart space. And that was the strongest tree branch that they could grow is when they allowed their heart to grow, to expand. But they were very well accomplished in their life. A lot of public recognition was here. This is a dice, and I forgot to talk about in my other pile, because there was a dice that had the number 7, but I didn't talk about it. So there was mystery here. So I hope somebody calls out in the comments about the number 7 and what that can mean for them, because you did have the 7 of Wands, and the number 7 was on the other die. So assessment, knowledge, and accomplishment. But the number 18 can symbolize like the moon in the tarot world. So your subconscious, your intuition, your emotions, you know, are things what they appear to be? Are you pulled out of your bed in your pajamas and you're fighting your covers and you're not actually fighting anything very physical in your life? Or is there a battle that you're not made aware of yet? And your mind is trying to kind of like bring it to the forefront of your mind. Or this guide specifically, this departed loved one is trying to show you that there is a battle down the road that has been fought more times than can be counted. There's just not enough fingers on our hands to count how many times a specific battle has been fought. It's like an ongoing war with this family tree, if you will. And it's kind of up to you to decide, how do you want to defend it? What kind of action do you want to do? And the Libra energy that is here, the balance, and the ace of the swords in the sword group, or in tarot even, it makes me think of needing to take action, to use your mind to see what do you actually believe in, or the solutions that you have, what messages are being presented, if I haven't already said that, and to also use caution. And when you need to use force, only then it's after you've exhausted everything else. And it's okay to change when you need to, when your focus needs to be one single point, if you will. And I'm sorry if this camera has been shaking as I've been like staring off into space, going off in a tangent. But there's something here that you are defending that you need to pick up. And this loved one is wanting you to almost take what it is that they had, what they had currently. They may have just had a stick, whereas you actually have an actual weapon in your arsenal to use, if you will. This is it's an eraser, and it's a heart chakra eraser. And so aligning your chakras up, taking care of your root, especially since the red one is at the center and the outside, and communicating your truth, and always communicating what it is that your heart is trying to say and taking action on it. And this is just an orange bead, just like whatever you desire right now, or your needs that need to be met, meet them. Find the thread in order to stitch, the beads that need to be stitched, the chakra that needs to be stitched together. But my dears, that is your personal reading for this departed loved one. I hope it resonates and I was able to channel a specific individual. But if not, you are more than welcome to jump into another pile and see if there's even more people that are trying to reach out to you, trying to give you a message. And I'm going to go ahead and reveal the last pile, and you are more than welcome to stay and see that as well if you'd like. But thank you so much for being here. I hope you have a blessed adventure, and that you're able to, pick up where you left off, even if you haven't known that you were. Hello. Okay. If you are interested in this pile, I wanted to go ahead and just showcase this, the cards, so that way y'all had a better connection to this pile without, getting too much into the details, so that we can kind of see. So I will say this pile could have a big connection to the first pile, just because the first pile had the sun in Taurus in the first house, and this is the sun in the Taurus in the fourth house. So this could be an extension to that pile. But I will say that with this specific gemstone, if you are thinking about a specific person that is romantic to you, this can talk about this person specifically. So this pile is definitely for someone that it was in a romantic relationship with someone and is finding that they're having to move in a different direction to find their root, to find their sense of peace, and how this person wants to talk to you currently. And because they have been feeling a lot of what you have been feeling, and they have been watching and observing over you, especially, you know, in the nighttime with the moon, and have been working with you on your emotions. Now, if this pile is something you are interested in, you are more than welcome to jump into the link that I will have to my Patreon, so that way you can watch the full reading and the extended. But this person wants you to know that you deserve the best. They really do. Now I'm going to go ahead and leave it here. And if you were in any of the other piles, I love and appreciate y'all so much, and thank y'all for being here and being a part of this spiritual journey with me. And in some way I was able to connect to even my own family, if you will, and I didn't think that would be something I could do, but I love these readings. So if you want to see more readings like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Or if you are interested in other types of topics and would like for me to create pick a pile readings for them, that's one of the best ways to do that is to leave comments. Let me know. But I'm going to go ahead and end it here, and I love and appreciate y'all so much. Guys, thank you.